Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video obviously going to be a post-match review of Celtic's dramatic 1-0 win over Young Boys Berne yesterday evening at Celtic Park, a result that takes us through into a guaranteed place in the last 16 playoffs in the Champions League and does give us an outside chance of actually getting into the top 8 and then seeded and a bye through to the full last 16. However, I think that might be a bit ambitious, but over the period of between now and next Wednesday's game against Aston Villa in Birmingham, we'll explore just what all the permutations are, because if Celtic were to win against Aston Villa, that would take us into the points level needed to get into the top 8. But other clubs can obviously win games or draw games to get themselves into that area. In today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the major incidents, of which there were plenty, the stats, my own player ratings, and also rather surprising news that it looks very likely that Kyogo will be leaving Celtic in the near future, and there is a possibility of Jota coming back to the club, but the Jota part of that deal still seems to be under a lot of negotiations. But the Kyogo deal looks, from many sources, to be an almost definite transfer in the near future. Celtic very much got off on the front foot, very much on top, and the first half yesterday evening, Celtic were massively on top, could easily have been 5 up by half time. Was it not for 3 goals being disallowed for Arne Engels missing a penalty, and some very good goalkeeping by Keller in the Young Boy Berne goal. Celtic in the 6th minute got what looked like being a brilliant start. Kyogo got in behind, nice finish past the goalkeeper. However, he was about a yard offside, so correctly disallowed. Then a rather dramatic period starting in the 22nd minute. Dyson Maida looked like he was pushed from behind and knocked over in the box. However, the referee didn't give it, and VAR didn't intercede. But that looked, for me, probably a more convincing penalty than the one Celtic did get in the 40th minute when Greg Taylor was pulled down from the back. I think both were penalties, but the Maida one was more convincing. And then Celtic had 2 goals disallowed in the 30th minute and the 33rd minute. First of all, Callum McGregor did clip the Young Boys Berne central defender from the back, so it was a free kick, and so the goal was correctly disallowed. Again, another very nice finish by Kyogo, and then nice run by Dyson Maida, but he was a couple of centimetres offside, and his cross into Kyogo, again, very nicely put away by Kyogo. So was it not for a wee bit poor timing of the runs, Celtic could easily have been 2 goals up with the 2 Kyogo goals. The Callum McGregor one is a different matter. That was a definite foul, and so quite rightly was disallowed. But had Kyogo and Maida timed their runs just that little bit better for those 2 goals, we would have been 2 up with that. As I said, Greg Taylor was pulled down from the back in the box, was a penalty kick. Unfortunately, Arne Engels didn't look terribly confident when he stepped up. He had a stutter in his run-up, which he's never used before, and the Young Boys Berne keeper Keller managed to keep himself just on the line, just within the rules, and Engels didn't hit a particularly good shot to the goalie's left, and it was a fairly easy save. Game then drifted into half-time, 0-0. Second half, I have to say that Celtic were a bit disappointing. Young Boys Berne got more and more into the game, and Celtic looked to be a bit more disjointed, a bit more frantic, a bit more panicky, and they lost their fluidity and crispness and accuracy of passes. And Young Boys Berne got more and more into the game, and in the 62nd minute, brilliant double save by Kasper Schmeichel. Berne got in behind, nice cross back into the centre of the box, very powerful shot from the Berne player, very well saved by Kasper Schmeichel, who got back to his feet to then save another shot coming through a ruck of players, took a slight deflection off Austin Trusty's leg and hip as well, and Schmeichel able to beat the ball out to the side, keeping Celtic at 0-0. Then dramatically, absolutely lovely pass by Rio Hatate. Some nice calm passing out of defence to get the ball into Rio Hatate's path. He then did a very clever dummy, spun, and then a brilliant pass that took up half the length of the pitch, right into a brilliant run by Adam Ida, timing things perfectly, keep himself on side, got himself into the box. Actually, a very good shot by Ida, brilliantly saved by Keller in the goal, but the ball then bounced off the goalkeeper into the path of Benito, who was tracking back, and the ball rebounded off Benito into the net, giving Celtic a 1-0 win. Then, rather stupidly, Dyson might have got himself sent off in the 89th minute. Certainly, he was being pushed and shoved and kicked by the Berne player, but retaliation nearly always gets you a red card. And in this case, after a VAR review, it was upgraded from a yellow to red card. And I think, unfortunately, it's a correct decision. Slightly soft red card. Hopefully, just a one-match ban, but I wouldn't be too surprised if UEFA upgrade that to a 2, which of course would keep him out the first leg of the playoff round, if that's the round we get to, or the first leg of the last 16, if we manage to get into that top 8. Either way, Dyson Maida, rather silly, rather stupid, naive, which is not like him usually, and he did apologise to the team and the fans after the game. And then, literally, as time was about to run out, Celtic couldn't quite get a ball clear. It did break to a Berne player in the box, who happily only half hit his shot, allowing Kasper Schmeichel to make the save. If the Berne player had made a proper contact, I do fear that would have been a goal and an equaliser as time ran out. However, Kasper Schmeichel made a good save, and Celtic luck was in, and we're through to the last 16. So well done to Brendan Rodgers, well done to all the players, well done to the fans, both at the ground and all around the world. So moving on to the stats for the game, wasn't quite the dominating game often Celtic do have against opposition. I think that largely is due to the fact that Berne got themselves back into the second half pretty much 50-50. So looking at the stats for the game, Celtic had 59% of the possession, Berne 41. Shots were 16 for Celtic, 12 for Berne. On target, 7-4 in favour of Celtic. Off target, 6-4 in favour of Celtic. Block shots, 3 Celtic shots were blocked, 4 Berne shots were blocked. Kasper Schmeichel made 4 saves, and Keller in their goal made 7. 7 corners to 4 in favour of Celtic, and 31 touches to 20 in favour of Celtic. And that Celtic not quite as dominant as they have been and can be. And however, the key thing was we scored a goal, and just like the last time we played Berne and beat them 32 years ago in 1993, it was an own goal that won the game for us then, and it was an own goal that won the game for us last night. Moving on to my own ratings for the players, gave Kasper Schmeichel 9 and man of the match. Made a good save early in the game from a long range shot, then made that brilliant double save in the 62nd minute, and then in the 5th minute of added time, as time was about to run out, he made that 4th and crucial save. I think he also did a good job marshalling the defence, good getting the ball out quickly to the full-backs and the centre-backs. So all around a great game by Kasper Schmeichel. Given 8 for both Alistair Johnston and Austin Trusty. I think they both defended very, very well. Austin Trusty, for me, was the better of the two central defenders. Cameron Carter-Vickers, who I've given a 7 to. I think he a few times did get out-muscled and outpaced by the Montero, the Berne centre forward. I thought Trusty did a much better job controlling things. He was never beaten for pace, managed to fight off quite a number of robust challenges, and his distribution and passing was bang on. Alistair Johnson defended very well on his side. There wasn't much of a threat coming down that side. And Johnson, as he usually does, pushed forward into midfield with some nice passing, good distribution from the ball from the back, and a few times got himself into that final third. A couple of cutbacks, a couple of crosses. So good all-round game from Alistair Johnson and Austin Trusty. As I said, 7 for Carter Vickers. Thought he had a fine game, but not quite up to his usual high standards. And he did get caught out a couple of times, but happily no goal resulted. 7 for Greg Taylor. A few times he was caught out with the ball going in behind him, as is quite often the case. Good work in midfield, good work in the final third. Some nice crosses and passes, and no major mistakes in defence. So 7 for him. Give him 8.5 for both Callum McGregor and Rio Hatate. I think they both had brilliant games, particularly in the first half. Callum McGregor controlled things, a lot of good passes, good setup, good organisation, good captaincy. Bit faded away a bit in the second half. However, Rio Hatate from start to finish played very well. Some nice shots, could easily have scored a goal in the first half. Some good passes, some good winning the ball back in midfield, some good distribution, very few poor passes from Hatate, and of course that brilliant sweeping ball the length of the pitch for Ida to get through for what ended up being the own goal that won the game for us. 7 for Arnie Engels. Again, I think he had a good first half, very busy, got himself forward, some good passes, good recycling of the ball in midfield. However, he did miss the penalty kick, and from then it did look like his confidence was down, and in the second half he kind of drifted away, and so needed replaced by Paolo Bernardo. 7 for Nicholas Kuhn. I was a bit disappointed actually with Nicholas Kuhn. Didn't get himself involved quite as much as he usually does. Did get one good run in across the box and a shot that was deflected wide. His final ball, his final cross, several times was rather poor. Didn't quite get himself forward to support Kyogo and Maeda quite as well as he often does. And so 7 for him, 7.5 for Kyogo. Played very well, particularly in the first half. Did drift away a wee bit in the second half, but I think merited a 7.5. Dyson Maeda given 7.5 as well. He would have been on 8.5 was it not for the fact he got himself sent off. Dyson Maeda very busy up and down that left side. Good work in midfield, good work in defence, several nice breaks, some nice passes. Could easily have set up that first goal for Celtic had he not been a few centimetres offside. Did give the right back a bit of a torment for the whole game. And as I said, would have been 8.5, but for getting himself sent off, hopefully just a one match ban. In terms of the subs, 6 for Paolo Bernardo. Bit disappointed in Paolo Bernardo. Not really made any major contributions, passes, tackles, breaking up the play, or shots. 7 for Alex Valley. I think he did a fine job defensively up and down that left side. He was involved on a couple of occasions getting the ball into the box. Some nice passes. Good work from him. 6.5 for Liam Scales. Came on very late after the Dyson Maeda sending off when we went to a 5-3-1. Didn't make any major mistakes. Did look a wee bit disorganised in the centre of defence when he, Trusty and Scales were there. Happily, no goals resulted. And 7 for Adam Ida. Led the line nicely and, of course, was pivotal in scoring that goal. That win last night puts us into 18th place, goal difference +1. We do have an outside chance of getting into the top 8. That will depend on, obviously, beating Aston Villa in our last game, and then hoping that a few other results go our way. But it is incredibly tight in the league at the moment, and so a win and a few results going our way certainly will put us further and further up the table and could have an outside chance of getting into that top 8. Some clubs, such as Man City, currently in the danger zone. Them and Dinamo Zagreb can still qualify for the top 24, but they're going to require wins in their last games, and also hoping a few other teams above them lose. And so it's eminently possible that Man City will be out before the playoff stage, which would be a major surprise. So once all the 18 games are done, we'll know just where we are in the league. That then will tell us which one of two teams we are going to play in the playoff stage, assuming that's where we reach. And I say there is the outside chance we might be top 8 and seeded right through to the last 16. So we'll see how things all pan out next Wednesday. A lot of stories from some very reliable sources, both in France and in Britain, plus Sky Sports, who usually are very keyed up and correct regarding transfers, that Kyogo is off to Rennes in a €12 million deal. Kyogo apparently wants to leave Celtic on the advice of the Japanese international manager so that he can secure a place in the Japanese international squad leading up to the World Cup in 18 months' time. The Japanese international manager has quite a low view of the Scottish League. Daizen Maeda has managed to keep his place in the squad for the whole time. However, Rio Hitate's been in and out, Kyogo's been in and out, and it would appear that Kyogo wants to leave Celtic, move to one of the big 5 leagues in Central Europe, and this also does square up with news stories from around a year ago when he was back home in Japan, where he talked about wanting to move to one of the big leagues for 2 or 3 years, and then moving back to Japanese football to end his career in his mid-30s. So, bit disappointed to see Kyogo going, not clear whether he's going to be leaving straight away, assuming that deal all goes through, or whether it'll be after the Villa game. So we'll see over the next week or so just how that develops. At the same time, Celtic are said to be in negotiations with Rennes to bring Jota to Celtic. Not clear at this point whether that's a permanent transfer, a loan deal, or a loan deal with a view to permanent transfer, as it appears there's still quite a lot of negotiations and bargaining to that, and the two deals appear to be independent, i.e., that is, Kyogo will be going to Rennes if the stories are correct, and Jota may or may not be coming back to Celtic. And then Brendan Rodgers would then have to fit in Jota to the current Celtic framework. If he was to replace Daizen Maeda on the left, we certainly would lose a lot of Daizen Maeda's energy, running ability, tracking back ability to help out left side midfield and left back. I also suspect that with Kyogo going, that Celtic will redouble their efforts with Matthias Kiesgarden. As things stand, Kiesgarden remains a Brøndby player. It would appear also that an £8.5 million fee would secure Kiesgarden's signature from Brøndby, and also Kiesgarden recently has been more welcoming at a chance to play for Celtic, and I think the guaranteed Champions League football in February onwards and next season may well also be a very good bargaining chip to bring Kiesgarden or someone similar of that quality to Celtic. No movement as yet on the Kieran Tierney deal, although I do expect now that Celtic are through to the next stage, that will progress quickly, maybe even as a permanent transfer or loan spell prior to signing as a free agent in the summer. I think that might well all occur in the near future, and I expect Celtic also maybe will be getting a couple of other players in. I think certainly if Kyogo is leaving, we do have to get at one, if not two people in to replace him, and extra cover in the wide positions would also be useful. So going to be a very exciting last 10 days or so of the transfer window, which finishes on Monday the 3rd of February. That finishes things off for today's video. Just a wee polite suggestion and encouragement. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscribe button. If you like the video, please do click the like button and do pop your pleasant, polite comments in the comment section for a nice wee chat and debate. We'll be doing a preview of the Dundee League match, which is on Saturday at 3 o'clock. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.